and I really hope that everyone tried to attempt it at least. So today, what we're going to do in the next hour or so that we have together, go through a few of the people who've actually sent back their updated presentations with the next stage. That's the first part. And in the second part, I would like to show you my portfolio, but I'm going to actually show you my college portfolio, which is basically going way, way, way back. Okay, I graduated 10 years ago. But the reason why I think that it's important for you all to at least see it is to see what kind of quality and what kind of quantity we actually need to produce ourselves. Okay. Also, I know that some people may be trying to understand that how do we do a color story? How do we do different kinds of things that are a part of this? But right now, what we're asking you to do is based on your understanding of how this is done, is to follow the template that we've given you. Okay, and this is obviously with the assumption that all the teachers already have a certain amount of time that they've been practicing this. And we will obviously use the data that we are gathering from here to help you guys forward. So don't think like this is matlab ye project ho gaya, teacher training ho gaya. That's not how it is. Okay, so we also have something in mind for you guys. So just please follow what we're asking you to do, because we're trying to get to some place together. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to, today for a change, I'm going to talk a little lesser. I want the person whose name I call out to come forward and explain their project to us and to everybody else. And I want it to be very brief. Okay, we don't have that much time. So within 8 to 10 minutes, I want you to explain what you've done. And I want all of you guys to ask questions, right? I want to know that everyone's paying attention. And also I want to know everyone's understanding. If you don't understand something they've done, you have a question of how they've done it, please ask. Okay, and of course, I will also talk in the middle. Okay, and also you can unmute your mic at any time and just ask anything you want to ask. Okay, cool. So I'm going to share my screen. I think we're going to start with Siddharth's project. Siddharth, are you here?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah. Okay, Siddharth. So can you please talk us through your project from the beginning to where you've reached right now, and then we'll move forward. Yeah. Can you see my screen?
Yes, of course. Yeah. So I basically started researching on movement because that is something that I'm very close to, and I really wanted to work with that. Searching on movement, I came across, dancers and theater artists and movement artists and performing artists, and I tried to jot down words that that had some physical aspect about it. Words like harmonious, words like rhythmic, words like illusionary, and then also I came up with abstract words which gave a certain amount of mood or feeling about the kind of atmosphere that's created when movement happens. And also then I went ahead and did brainstorming on movements. I mean, what are things that move when a certain object moves? What kind of lines or shapes or tangible elements are created? Or things that we can see or things that we can imagine with movements. So I did all that brainstorming, and then do you want to move ahead to the next slides? Yeah. So this is where sorry.
So you just tell me when we want me to move, okay?
Yeah. So here is where I did move the brainstorming for movement, and then I went ahead and came out with all the words that were I could derive from movements, like objects that move, and the period of time that a movement happens for. Like movement could be something. If you stop something, then it stops moving. But if you don't stop, if a force is not applied on something, then it can continue moving. So then I got these words like continuous and limited. And then also various kinds of movements, like movements through sports, movements through athletics, movements through dance, movements in our daily life. So what kind of lines and what kind of shapes or patterns are created through these movements, like wavy lines, zigzag lines, linear lines, curvaceous lines, circular, spiral, and all of that, and everything around the universe that moves, which includes human beings, animal life, the wind, and all sorts of planets, celestial objects. And then I had all these images which I could relate to with all my keywords and all the words that came out of my brainstorming. Images of folds, images of architectural structures where I could see movements, images of textures where I saw movements, images of fabrics which were moving because the dancer was moving his or her body. And then there's an image where this movement artist is trying to paint using her body, so that's also creating a movement and giving a physical aspect to the movement. And then there is this photography with a lower shutter speed where you can actually see the movement in a very dynamic yet very interesting manner. And so, yeah, can we move to the next slides? Yeah, and here I was trying to connect how we used to learn elements and principles of design using lines, and used to create movement just using lines. That is what I've shown in a couple of images. And then there's a Van Gogh painting, because Van Gogh had this style of using strokes, and you could almost see a direction in his strokes, and that direction also looked like it was moving. And then there's this rose image where there's this technique of drawing without lifting your pen. So it shows continuity of movement. And then there is this image where there's a diffusion of a certain liquid in water. That also shows movement. So I basically, and then there's this clock, which of course depicts movement of time. So I was coming up with images that, for me, I could relate them with movement. Yeah, we can go to the next slide. Again here, yeah. Okay, and then there was trend analysis. I went through various sources to study trend analysis, like Pattern Curator and Text Trends, and there were a lot of blogs which I read for doing the trend analysis. And these were the trends that were there, and I felt I felt the same kind of an ambience that I was, that I was imagining in my head with movements. So I thought, these kind of trends, yeah.
I just want to say one thing. So I see why you chose imperfection. Like, why did you just want to quickly talk about why you chose it? Tell me about imperfection and tell me about pressed flowers at least.
Yeah, the reason I chose imperfection was because, one of the reasons was because when I was researching on movement, and I was reading about all these modern dancers and contemporary dancers, I was reading why they came up with a certain kind of movement. And their documentaries or their movies, they say that, they wanted to break away from the rigidities of classical ballet, or they wanted to break away from the format of classical dancing. And they did not want dance or performance to always look perfect. Because ballet is so perfect. You have a perfect point foot, and you have a perfect costume, and you have a perfect makeup, and a perfect girl with a perfect body size. So they wanted to break away from this perfection and wanted to create imperfection to create a new kind of a movement. And that is how I related imperfection of textiles and textures also with imperfection of movement. And that is why
I ask you a question.
Sure.
I'm going to ask you a question again at this point.
Sure.
So
sure.
When we saw it above, somewhere for me, the imperfection part didn't come in with the way because what you're saying to me, the reason is right. Yeah. It's a great reason to have imperfection as your trend here. So right. Maybe as you move forward, or on top, you need to bring that element in somewhere. So what should happen is in your entire design project, I should not need to ask you, why did you put this in? Your flow of imagery should be such that every time you put in your next page, your previous pages are just like, it's making sense. It's making sense. It's making sense, right? So I related imperfection in a slightly different way. It's definitely correct. It's not like it's wrong, but what I'm trying to say is just that maybe we can bring in that element next time a bit higher up in your project so that it makes more sense on why it's come here. So you obviously
Okay.
read about this at some point, right? So
Right,
could that
right.
visual imagery also come in before this?
Okay. Sure, sure, sure.
Yeah?
Yes. I agree. Yes.
It's all giving you data. It's all
Yes.
giving you data. Yeah?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay, please go ahead.
Yeah,
Please go
and
ahead.
the pressed flower was actually because of a personal reason. Actually, before reading in the trends during the lockdown period, I was trying to create a lot of textures using pressed flowers in one of my personal journals, and I was seeing very beautiful textures and effects coming out of it. And when I saw it in the trends, it kind of excited me, and I just wanted to keep it. I wasn't sure whether I would be able to use it, but I wanted to keep it,
Yeah.
to keep that possibility open, to keep that option open, because I instantly connected with it personally, because I was working on it.
So the thing is that your project till now, whatever you're, I mean, if anyone disagrees with me, please say it now. I think that the way you put in your pictures earlier out, somewhere I don't feel like press flowers with that reason is good enough for you to add it in. I don't think you need
I
it.
agree.
Sometimes we very often sometimes try, it's a beautiful inspiration, it's a beautiful trend, and I love it. I've used it in my own collection also. I have it in SS20, right? The
Right.
whole press flower story. But I don't feel like it works for what you're trying to talk about right now. So
Right.
what we need to do with ideas like these is keep it for your next project.
Okay.
Keep it for
Sure.
your next idea. Keep it for your
Sure.
next collection. So I would
Sure.
take that out. Okay?
Sure.
Because then
Sure.
suddenly it confuses the person who's looking. And also when you write dress, right? When you write
Right.
dress as a trend, that's too large. That's too large. It's too generic.
I know. Can I say something at this point?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, actually, one of the biggest challenges that I faced while doing trend studies is, we don't really have access to WGSN or Promo Steel. So every trend that we are trying to study or get information is from blogs, or we are
Right.
extracting things from here and there. So then it sort of
Right.
sometimes becomes challenging to put them. So there was this one blog where I saw about dresses, so I didn't know how else to put it, so I just put it the way it was there in the blog.
So let me suggest what you can do here, because I know this is something that also happens to the students. The
Yeah.
students also suffer from this, right? They come and tell you, I don't have enough access. How
Yeah.
do I get you enough content? When I
Yeah.
ask you to do trend analysis, or when you ask the student to do trend analysis, right? I want
Yeah.
you guys to remember that there are limitations
Yeah.
because of the resources that are available. So
Yeah.
what we need to teach them and what we need to practice also is that when I'm looking at a trend, I don't have to look at a particular website and just pick up that trend as it is and take it out. I need to
Right.
look at 5-6 different places and
Right.
understanding of what that trend is myself. So for
Right.
example, if you had access to say 5 bloggers and everyone's talking about dresses, right?
Right.
But is there a
Right.
particular kind of dress? Are they talking about bohemian dresses? Are they talking about layered dresses? Are they talking about, skin fitted dresses? So the thing is that dresses is too generic a word.
I think
So
I've
I need
written
you to
that down. I've
mix in
written mixed.
dresses, tiered cape dresses and trapeze dresses. Okay, fine. It is mentioned over here. But I just feel like maybe somewhere we need to, like, going back to the reason that you're saying right now to me,
Right.
is that should not be your reason. You should
Right,
be like,
right.
I have looked at 5 places and I've derived my own understanding of it. So instead of writing dress, you probably write on top saying, the mixed print dress is my trend. The dress is not my trend.
Okay.
Understand?
Yeah. Yeah.
So so basically you need to start to focus in. You can't
Yes.
say such a big broad thing as your trend. Okay?
Sure.
Let's move forward. Otherwise we'll be having a discussion. This is the thing, guys. Design feedback it can take an entire class. I can spend 1 hour giving him feedback, and that's the kind of time you need to spend with each student on their project while talking to them also. Yeah? So let's quickly go through this. Technology and craft. What do you think about that? I think that makes a lot of sense for it to be here.
Yes.
Because, your entire inspiration talks about movement. So there's this whole geometry to it. And there's also this fluidity to it, which makes it very hands-on.
Yes.
So I can see that. Why Nomad?
Nomad, because when I was looking at these trends, I saw these trims, little trims, which had like fringes and stuff like that, which I felt of fringes and layers and tiers, which I thought could become an element in my collection.
Yeah, but I don't feel like you need to. I feel like nomad, because your entire inspiration seems so clean, though it
Okay.
has the movement. So your fringing comes in from the movement. It does.
Right.
And nomad has like nomad, boho, they have a slightly different connotation. Usually it's
Right.
very colorful. It's got
Right.
multiple layers. There's a lot of
Right.
stuff going on. In
Right.
yours, there will be a lot of stuff going on, but somewhere it's still quite, it's very clean. It's very refined.
Right. Right.
You know?
Right.
So when you
Yeah.
bring it, so I think you can avoid the nomad, you can avoid the boho, you can avoid
Sure.
things that are just for the tassels. Don't bring nomad in.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay. So designer relevance. Just quickly talk us through them. Like what kind of silhouettes were you looking at?
Actually, when I saw the collections of Issey Miyake and Iris Van Herpen in particular, I saw a lot of fluidity and space in the garments that could create that allows the body to move, and also I saw the fabrics moving, the pleats moving. And that is what motivated me to put these collections. I could connect to them, and also the lines and layers and all those waves in Iris Van Herpen's collections were very appropriate.
Yeah, and whoever hasn't seen Iris Van Herpen's collections, please have a look at it. It's absolutely phenomenal. This person does art with design, with science, and it's just beautiful how it's done. So as educators, I think it's very important we keep seeing what's going on around us. I want you all to know these people. It's very important. Okay. So now quickly about this part. Now defining your inspiration. So we saw your larger picture. So now how do you define that forward to actually build a collection?
After that, of course, I mean, I was thinking, when I'm talking about movement, my structures and my silhouettes and my fabrics have to be something that allow a body to move and do not make the body very constructed, very restricted. And that is why I thought of words like airy and flexible and contraction and release, because of course for movement artists or for dancers, it's very important that a fabric should allow the body to contract and the body to release, and usage of space, because you cannot talk about movement without space. So movement, space is a very important part of movement. And nudes and pastels, because I picked it up also from the trends in a certain way. And dramatic and minimal, soulful, they all go with movement, and that is why I added these words.
Right.
Yeah.
So these are the dancers that you were looking at,
yes,
specifically.
Yeah, these are the dancers who have always motivated me and inspired me, and I've put their pictures. And then, of course, I was also looking at, when you're talking about performing arts or dance, the concept of sexuality becomes very, you don't feel like, man and a woman, but then, a man can also perform like a woman can also perform like a man. So I saw this, the genders merging into each other, and that is why I have this gender neutral image. And all these words like fluidity, airy, nude, pastels, transparency, they become my images here. Yeah, so all these images, they're talking about the same thing, the movement of colors, transparency. And this slide I added after talking to you the last time. I told you that I wanted to. I'm really inspired by Shibori, and I can see movement in Shibori. So then you suggested me to add pictures of Shibori. So I have put pictures of Shibori and also these vegetable dyed images, because I in the swatches I've tried vegetable dye. That is why.
Does anyone have any questions for him at this point? Has everyone understood what he did, why he did it? Any questions? Teachers, any questions? Can you all hear me? You can hear me, right? No one's going to answer? Okay. No questions. You're lucky. Move on. So this was your collection note eventually?
Yes. Yeah. So the
You know, when you
collection.
guys, the reason why I insist that you guys should write a collection note, this is not just you, it's for everyone, is so that we can start to, when you put your thoughts to paper, sometimes it makes more sense. I can keep thinking in my head that my inspiration is this, and I will write this, and I will draw this. But the minute I start to write it down, it starts to define it more clearly for me, right? So I'm just quickly reading this. I feel like when you're writing your inspiration notes, right, it should be slightly more like, this is more factual. This is quite factual right now. So you need to keep building on this. So by the time you finish your entire collection, this will be the basis of your inspiration notes, but it should have grown a little bit more. In the sense, when I'm saying that, I mean that it should be about like, this is right now saying, okay, this is my inspiration. I've inspired from this. I've done blah, blah, blah. But how you actually translated that into the product is the part of, so this concept note now needs to keep building up. So
Right.
this is your first part. And the same concept note you will take to the bottom and add in information about your fabrics, about colors. So this is your starting point. This is not the final inspiration note. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And now your design development. So this is the color stories you've been looking at, right? You already told us why. We already see that it's because of the whole earthy colors and your whole natural dyes that you want to use, vegetable dyes that you want to use.
Yeah.
That's where you got your colors from. Okay?
Yeah.
Which one are you more inclined towards using? Any of them that you have edited out already? No, right? This is just all of them that you put together.
Yeah, some of them I am sure I mean, some colors I'm sure I'm using, like, white and nude and off-white and beige and pink.
But on what basis? How have you decided that?
Yeah, so I was actually trying them on a lot of fabrics, and then I laid all my fabrics out, and then I picked up the ones that looked most appropriate with my inspiration. And those colors are the ones with which I did all this permutation combination.
Are you guys watching? It's not just for me, it's for everybody. Everyone's seeing this together.
Ma'am, I have one question regarding the color board. That there are like so many similar pictures in color stories. So what I have understood from the last presentation, that we have to pick 2, 3, and then we have to develop our own colors. So in my PPT, I have taken one slide for from Pinterest trend for color forecast, and then I have developed the colors by myself for the other stories.
That's fine. So these colors that you have placed over here, Siddharth, have you made those palettes, or are they just ready colors?
No, I've made the palettes.
That's what I thought. So the thing is, what we can actually do with our with Illustrator and stuff is, you put an image, you put multiple images together, and you can start picking colors from it, which is what I'm assuming you did.
Yes.
You did?
Yes.
So what he's done is, he's actually put pictures together, collaged pictures together, and created the palettes. So the palettes are his. He's created these palettes.
Okay.
And what he's done is, he's used the similar pictures that that are working for his inspiration, and put them in combination. So for example, in this first one, I have a bit more of yellow, but in this second one, I have a bit more of pink. And in my third one, the brown comes in because the brown flower is also there. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
So he's just basically played with proportions of colors and different combinations of a similar palette. So it's all very pastel. It's very pastel. It's very light. It's very natural, very earthy. But they're just variations of each other. They're variations of each other. That's what they are.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Okay, so these are all your different options for the kind of stuff that you want to do in terms of fabrics, right?
Yeah, this is also something that I've picked up from all these sources that I've mentioned. Like before deciding the fabrics, I first looked at what are the different trends in fabrics. And so these images are actually from those trends. and I've noted down whatever was there in the trends. I've noted down things that resonated with my idea. So I've only written down those trends which resonated with my ideas, and then eventually I have decided to work on these fabrics.
Yeah. So the thing is that the kind of stuff that you've written in your trends over here seems very like light, breathable, basic cottons. But I know cotton is no good for you, because if you're doing a collection which is slightly more, now this is based on what you've told me till now. I'm going to assume I've not seen Aage, okay?
Yes.
This is what you've told me till now. I would assume your collection has a bit of fluidity, but it's also a little bit, has a bit of form in it. It's not very, it's not jhabla. It's not comfort clothing, but it's still comfortable because I have to dance in it, right? So the kind of fabrics that you've right now shortlisted, there's silk organza, which I understand. Hemp also is okay. Cotton, jersey works really well. So the fabrics also kind of work with each other. That's not a problem. But when I come down to your silhouette, when I see something like this, I think it's really interesting. You've got lines, you've got these, these kind of this zigzag line thing happening. You've got these fringes happening. It feels like it could be really strong and very interesting, because it makes sense from your earlier inspirations. Then sleeves like this make sense from your earlier inspirations. Those things work quite nicely. But then I start to see this pattern that you've adopted, which is like kimono type sleeves. Right? And then it starts to make me think that how is the kimono sleeve that comfortable? Or how is the kimono sleeve that close to the body? That would probably go with the kind of vibe that you were looking for, right? That's just now when I look at this, I'm just basically voicing my thoughts as I go through it. We can discuss this once I finish going through the whole thing. Like I feel like I've seen this before, but I feel like it still works. Is this something that we can work on further? Like immense amounts of pleating, really fine pleating, coming together at the waist, moving out. So that's a really interesting detail, but I feel like I've seen it before. So we need to with that, but we need to explore that further. So I want everyone who's listening to me to please listen to this very clearly. We need to learn to push. See, I know all of you guys are not practicing designers, so to say. So, only some of you guys are probably doing your own thing, with the label, etc. And most of you are focused on education and teaching the kids. But we need to ensure that we are pushing them so much that, and pushing ourselves also, right? It doesn't have to be that, it could be that education is all that you want to do all through this, and you may be thinking, why is she making me do this design project? I'm simply making you do it because I want you to push yourself, because if you don't push yourself, you can't push the kids, right? It's very simple. So I feel like the collection's built up so well, Siddharth. Can we really, and this is what design process is all about. It's about you keep moving back and forth and back and forth and back and forth till we actually reach a place where that clarity just goes. So there are so many sparks of interesting things over here, but I feel like you haven't, like, for example, this also, what a lovely detail. It's so nice, but you haven't explored it beyond that. Like, you haven't taken this A to Z. You've dropped it there. And this is again a very big mistake. We all make this. All the time. I do this all the time. It's a very common thing, but I want you all to really think about that. So take on things that are interesting, that are really beautiful, and explore them further. Right? Right now, it feels like it's gone in a very kimono. Like, this is so cool. This is very interesting. And what may also work for all of you, for yourselves and for the students, is if everyone started to do similar kind of details together. For example, I have done a detail, and now it's on this page only. So I start to see that whole evolution together. If I've done it on separate pages, can I cut them out on separate pages and start putting them together? Can I lay them out with each other? So I can see that. So for me, like, this story is lovely. This jacket is so beautiful. Like this one that you have here, even this is really interesting. So can they be laid out next to each other? So we start to see this thread, this commonality, which could then you explore it even further, but we start to see things side by side. Does that make sense? Yeah. And right now, at this point, now I'm not even so fussed about you putting in so much detail. Like, even if you didn't put in so much detail, at this point, you're just saying, I'm exploring ideas. Is my voice echoing?
No.
Yeah, Karishma, it is echoing.
Okay, wait, let me see. I'm not sure why that's
Yes,
happening.
it's echoing.
Is it better now?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically what I'm saying is that if you're at this point of time, at this rough work stage, is it still echoing?
Yes, ma'am.
It got better each May. Again, it started echoing.
Better now? Is it better now?
Yeah. You speak for some time, then I'll let you know.
So at this point of time, when we're talking about rough work, even if you aren't putting in so much detail, it's fine. Don't worry. Just explore ideas, push yourself to think further, move further, right? But I feel like the kimono is a little bit too Japanese for your inspiration. I feel like it's too. Why did you use it? Do you want to talk about it?
Yes, I want to talk about. To be honest, I never knew that dancing or music be possible to an extent, as I've seen.
Voice is a little unclear. Voice is a little unclear. Siddharth.
Yeah. Is it clear now? Yeah. So what I was saying is, personally, I'm very, very inspired by dance. So I attend a lot of shows. I dance myself. So and I work with a lot of dancers. There's some strange noise.
Can everyone turn off?
Somebody put on the mute. Usko kam kar de, please. Somebody.
Can I speak now?
Yes.
Yeah. So I was saying, I'm very inspired by dance. I am personally involved into dance, and I work with a lot of dancers also. And I never knew that, dancing in kimono could be possible. Till I saw a show a few years back, 2 years back actually, and I was amazed by this dancer who was dancing in a kimono. And since then, I had it in my mind that, dancing with a voluminous sleeve or something which is away from your body, a shape that is away from your body is also possible. And maybe that's just stayed in the back of my mind. And also I saw these silhouettes of Issey Miyake, and probably that motivated me to.
Do you feel like maybe if you feel that is the case, and that also needs to reflect in your inspiration somewhere? Because
I do think so. I do think so, and I'm really sorry I did not go back and change the pictures because
you don't have to
I didn't know if it was.
But you can do that. You can do whatever you want to do. It's your project, and that's how our projects work. We keep moving forward, and I keep getting your updated presentation, and this is for everybody. So I end up seeing your completely new presentation. I don't only refer to your old one. So if you guys feel like after working forward, I've gone back, changed something, come back, by all means do it. That's how we really work. That's actually how design works, right?
Right.
So that's fine. Don't worry about it. So if you feel like you do feel like this whole Japanese kimono, dancer is in your head, and that's an important part of this inspiration, and it's coming out, and it should also be there as a reference.
Okay.
So I'm moving forward, and I'm looking at this stuff. I'm not even going to it's just it's too it's not the exciting part. Like for me, this is exciting, though it's got that big drop sleeve, and if you bring that whole kimono aspect, this is such an interesting shape, like this with all the fringing happening on it. What's happening here on top though? What's going on here?
There's a texture actually. I've sandwiched loose yarns between 2 layers of organza, and then there's a top stitch which goes in the same kind of lines that I've shown in my inspiration.
But you haven't actually made them.
I have made them.
Okay.
So all these samples are actually ones that I've developed. I've developed much more fabrics, but I haven't put all of them here.
What you can do is, because you're focusing on textiles, I'm okay with you pulling your textiles up. So you put your textiles up, after colors you put textiles, and then your illustrations, because then it all starts to tie in better. Then I don't ask you that silly question.
Okay. I was actually a little confused about that. That's why I did not put the fabrics.
So there's some designers who focus on textiles first, silhouettes later. Some who focus on silhouettes first, textile later. So based on your skill set and your interest, you can move that slide up and down. Okay, that's not a problem. So I really want you to explore those ideas that are very interesting and which have all. And I feel like I'm missing lines in general. Like I feel like I was expecting to see a lot more lines, a lot more lines, and I feel like we right now are only focusing on the shape of the garment, so I'm not going to question that much. But if I reach SOT and I don't see as many lines, I'm going to question you again.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
We haven't reached there yet. Fine.
No, I'm actually working on Shiboris a lot to create a lot of lines. So
sure.
I hope I'm able to achieve.
You can do some of that and add them in and just revisit some of these, like exploring further some of these designs. I think it could be quite interesting. And also,
Sure.
I want you to add the Japanese reference for sure, so it makes more sense.
Sure.
Yeah? Guys, anyone has any questions to ask him or to ask me regarding what I said to him? Anybody? Please ask.
All are satisfied? We can move to the next.
Okay, so I have this person's here, which is basically Sucharita Das. Sucharita Das, is she here?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Hi. Can you tell us about your project? Also, yes, I think the last time we took too much time. We need to go a little bit faster, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Basically, my inspiration started from a seed. And when I see exactly a seed, like our life is a seed. We grow and our life experiences different things, and then our life ends and again it grows. So entire life, all a human being, mammals, insects, everyone comes under this cycle. So basically my inspiration was this, and I have created these keywords from that, and this is how I have traced everything. And in the second,
yeah.
So basically I have taken lots of visuals which has different types of seeds. I have shown the cycle, I have shown a life, and there are different processes, like there is germination, there is this from a year birth to a cotton formation, there is a hope, there is lots of stuff which are actually happens in the entire process.
Right.
So in the same way, I had done this research, and then I have correlated with plants. Like when we say seed, obviously it's going to be a tree and plant. It will give fruits. It will give flower, everything. So when we talk about Adam and Eve, I think there was a tree, there was an apple. So I have made a connection. So this is how I have connected everything. And in the same way, there is love also, there is life also, nature. Everything is correlated with the.
Okay.
And in the same way, when we talk about a tree, a plant, so from a seed, a plant has come, and we also know like plant is so much responsible for our ecosystem. It balances everything. It exactly balances like for carbon dioxide. It gives us oxygen. If we see the entire tree pattern, we can see there is a roots also inside. So there is an equal balance. If you see, our surface is a like balanced line between that. So these are few textures and visuals which I really feel it can be implemented very nicely in terms of design. So there are various textures are there related to things.
Okay, quickly tell us about this.
Yes, these are few trends which I have got from PromoStill, and this basically reflects what exactly I'm looking for. So natural prints, there are appliques, and the paisley prints, retro, vibrant, vintage inspired denims are there, and playful, colorful backgrounds are there, color blocking. So these are my key factors which actually I was looking forward.
Why playful prints?
Basically, when we see nature, when we see seeds, when we see all these things, there are various factors. So just there are different color combinations. Flower is also there, leaf is also there, a tree is also there. So I can visualize there are too much stuff, and I think color is something we can correlate with. So it just came in my mind. So we can just so that's
okay. What is your specialization? What you're teaching in NIFD? I want all of you to write that on your presentation, because
Yes,
that way what
ma'am.
happens, it gives me understanding to know what is yours.
Ma'am, basically I take industry-oriented subjects, apparel industry, and for masters I take lingerie, sportswear, maternity wear, and project presentation. And
Have down on the beginning of your presentation, okay? Just write it, everyone. Yeah.
yes. Ma'am, these are the remaining strengths which I found it can be very interesting to put up for the collection forward. So the first one is the Persian motif, which is already like the Paisley motifs, and just I got a very slight inspiration from the Palampur, that is the tree of life. So there is where my mind got right. So the motifs are quietly Persian. So here I have related the Persian motif and oversized flowers, 3D SOTs, then earthy color palette, textured surface, and then artistic SOT doodle art. So these are the things I thought it will be very nicely sitting in this.
Okay, I'm just going to move ahead.
Yes,
It's
ma'am.
self-explanatory.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
these are all the different designers you
Yes,
referred.
ma'am.
Why do you refer to these designers?
Sorry, ma'am.
What like why these designers?
Ma'am, I have what kind of research I have done. I have chosen few key elements like vintage, color blocking, 3D SOT. So I have tried to find out the designers who have done that kind of work in few particular collections. So in that basis, I have chosen these, as well as the silhouettes also, because we should also follow the current trend. So these are almost like 2020 silhouettes. So
That's
these are
because they
the
make the trends. I don't think they
yes,
follow
yes,
trends. I think they're the ones who are making the trends, right?
yes, ma'am. Few of you are
Okay.
also there in WJSN also. So similar trends I tried to take it. And then there is my
Okay.
exactly the inspiration about a tiny seed. And ma'am, shall I read it?
No. Just like a rough. Like, quickly tell me. Don't read it. We can all read it. Yeah. What's your final
Okay, so it's
inspiration?
it's a kind of a it's a kind of a story. Yeah, it's kind of a story of a seed who comes in the world, and it's with the time and love it germinates, it becomes big. The seed meets different stuff, and it becomes a plant and then tree. Then the germination of flower is there. Then from flower there is a fruit, and then from fruit again the seed is there. So again the seed is in the position one, the initial stage. So this is how my story is about the seed.
Yeah, that's cute.
So it is kind of a poetic stuff.
That's fine. Whatever works for you works for us. No problem.
And these are according to what I have done in previously. I found out these are the keywords which are directly sitting in my imagination. So life, origin, growth, organic, shelter, organism, simplicity, stages, tree of life, love, attachment, prosperity, cycles, flower, fruit, balance, energy. So I think all of these work uh, accordingly. And these are my exactly inspiration where after this stage I found it's the balance, it's the origin, and it's about the historical traces also. And this is a tree of life where there is a parental stage, then birth and toddler. uh, these are few very interesting structures and textures I found can be implemented very nicely. So ma'am, these are the textures. This is a very microscopic view, and these are few products which I found really very interesting. Like if
Mhm.
the inspiration of that seed can be developed into product, so why not in a garment or any other stuff? Like it can be
That's so clever,
architecture.
no? Such a clever adaptation of the seed. Of the seed, I really like the way they made these products. They're very cool. Mm. Does anyone have any questions for her at this point? Anybody? No? Okay.
And ma'am, the source is Promosil, this one. I truly need Promosil. The source is Promosil.
Okay.
Yeah. Ma'am, these are also some visuals which were totally sitting in my imagination.
Yeah, that's this.
And these are few very micro view. I just thought it is totally reflecting the what exactly my concept is.
Yeah.
And this is about my collection name. And I think tentatively it's Tree of Life. Till now, the stage I have worked, might possible I can rename it according to if there is something.
No, you can. The thing is that this concept note that you're writing, like I said to Siddharth also, this is only your starting point. When your collection finishes is when we write the final concept note. This is only to give us some direction right now. Okay.
So, ma'am, basically, it's like it shows the generation. There is involvement of environment. Love is there. There are various responsibilities. So it's entire the life cycle. So which is just wanted to tell everyone. So it's a story of a seed. So now, basically, this is my visual board which I found. The kind of stuff I wanted to keep in my design project. So these are the different aspects.
Did you find these color stories? These are from the internet, right?
Yes, this color stories are from internet.
Yeah, I need you to make your own color stories.
Yes, ma'am. That I will be doing. So these are few inspirations and color stories which I have picked up. And according to this, as you have told me previously also, I will choose few colors and I'll merge few colors and I'll make a original color palette of particularly this line.
Okay.
These are few prints. I just thought to add on this, like what is exactly my concept of what kind of surface will be there in terms of print. So I have chosen vegetable block print, pop all over print. There is scribble art, random splash painting, doodle art, kalamkari and ajrak printed fabric, oversized motif with watercolor effect, eco-friendly captions, and Indian block printing. So these are the kind of surface which I'm thinking I'll be working on. And ma'am, the next slide, it's about the ornamentation. So the kind of ornamentation is there in my mind, like in terms of embroideries, in terms of the 3D textures. So these are the stuff like Katha stitch will be there, 3D artistry will be there, multicolor patches will be there. Then these kind of appliques, beadwork, non-woven, with the help of non-woven knits, there will be some 3D artistry. And these are the key detailings. I found it will be very much suitable for my collection. That tone-on-tone embroidery on sheer textile, loop closures and fastening, as exactly the loop closures and loop shows like a seed. It resembles a seed and it's opening and closing. So I feel it's totally relates it. And there is this kind of gradation pattern and trapeze silhouette as it is there in the trend. There is this kind of 3D artistry and embellishment, vintage tie-ups like these, multicolor SOT, multi-directional cut and sew, print-on-print combination, Angrakha closure, basic oversized silhouette, and vintage Shifley prints. So these are my stuff which I'll be working on. And these are the fabrics which will be there in the collection. So the first one is the textured khadi fabric, then the organic muslin, block printed fabric, printed linen, cotton dobby, translucent and printed voile, textured jute, not as a body fabric, as a very trim fabric or something for the SOT, and scrap textured fabric.
Okay, see, block printed fabric is not a type of fabric. Block printing is a technique. So you don't need to put block printed fabric on this board. You just write khadi, cotton muslin, linen, not even printed linen, cotton dobby, boil, jute, khadi. That's it. All these keywords are meant for your surface ornamentation. Okay. You don't need to
fine, ma'am. And ma'am, the next stage is about the silhouette. So it was just a basic doodle. So that's why I have done a very basic drawing. So maybe
I have no problem with your basic drawings. That's not the problem. I will not judge you on your drawing skills. I'm going to judge you on the ideas because you have so much content above. But I feel like this is when it comes here, just we forget everything. So much information is there. Roots and balance and, grandness and life and seed and small and big. And then suddenly when we come here, you end up looking at the silhouettes and you just go like all same length, A line, straight. It's just so this is something that we have to work on. We have great ideas. We have wonderful ideas. But we need to remember the ideas need to go to the product. If the ideas stop before the product will just look like for me right now, honestly, if you just put the leaf over here, that's not good enough. That doesn't work. Right? So how are we adapting the leaf into different shapes, into different forms? So we need to work on silhouette development. Till this point, all good. You have the thought, you've written about it, you have the idea, you've decided all of that stuff. But silhouette development, so design development, I want you to revisit it. Sit down calmly, do faster sketches, do simpler sketches than this, do smaller sketches, do itna small, no problem. But just more ideas in where is your silhouette going to come from and how are you going to build that up. You're saying that I want to bring in the leaves and stuff. By all means, bring it, but bring them in more ways than just this. So maybe you take all of these drawings that you have right now, saying this is my basic one. Take each and every one and do variation of each and every drawing. And this could be for everyone who's listening to me. If you feel like, I don't know where to start from, whoever's done the basic level of sketches, to take your basic sketches, look at the ones you like the most and start doing variations of those. You'll end up coming to better results. Yeah?
Can I say something here? If you could use stencils and make your drapes, it would come much better than trying to actually do the illustrations and spend more on, then somehow the garments don't look, वो नहीं लगता नहीं है कुछ कि अगर सिलुएट्स होता है ना तो आप स्टिल उसको थोड़ा सा देख लेते हो. अदरवाइज ये कहीं इधर से sleeves are falling wrong, the necklines are unproportionate, the shoulder droops are not so good. So and if you have a stencil, it is much better. So anybody who's not an illustration teacher or probably a drafting teacher, make stencils and then drape garments on it. So
also don't waste your time.
The waistline happens, where the shoulder line happens, and you can do it general.
What happens is with what Anju is saying right now too. If you look at this entire lineup, are they all the same length? Are all the pants and the tops the same length? Was that the plan? In your head when you were designing, were all of these garments on this page the same length?
I'll say the second illustration. The second illustration, look at the shoulder lines and इसमें कोई पता ही नहीं चल रहा है. अगर आपके stencils होंगे तो आपको clarity में होगा कि आपने कितना length देना है, waistline कहाँ से है, if you have your your cuts from where it's supposed to fall in. So it gets more clearer to you. So even if you're not an illustration teacher, no worries. Just but we need to have the right ways of showing, basically.
Also, one more thing you can do is you can draw lines on your sheet. So you draw a line that this is going to be my shoulder line all the way across the paper. This is going to be my waistline. This is going to be my hip line. So what happens when I draw each garment next to each other? If it's a short, it'll all end at the knees. If it's a pant, it'll all end at the ankles or whatever in between. But that way your shorts and pants won't look like the same length, like they're looking right now to us, right? So even if you want to, so you need to have some template below what you're drawing so that you can standardize it. No fancy drawings, okay? Don't worry. It's not about the fancy drawing. It's about understanding what is falling where, okay? And also don't waste your time writing 21, 22, 23, 24. Right now, when you're exploring silhouette, just explore, okay?
Okay, ma'am. I'll work on it.
Yeah, and also right now I suddenly feel like you've adapted so many different styles in this that we can't see one, like the collection doesn't seem to have a direction. Because you've taken this style also, cut with this pleating, but things happening here, the straight shirt also. Okay, chalo, I'll give you this. Pleat here, it still works. But somehow the collection's not coming together, which it will start to come together if you start to draw it out with some more information from all the research you've done about. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so guys, I'm going to I know we've gone way beyond our we said 10 minutes per person, but that never happens. It just never does happen. I'm going to show you guys some of my work so you guys can have an idea about it. And of course, everyone will be getting the feedback on the work that they're doing. Please understand the purpose of this exercise. We're doing this exercise so that we also understand, are we all following a process? Are we all following step 1, 2, 3, 4? Do you guys feel like having that template is something that we can also give the kids going forth so they can follow the template that we've given you guys right now? So please, every time you're working on the project, also think about how are you going to eventually pass that information on to the kids. Yeah, if that makes any sense. So when we're saying it has to be in a process, if I have put the silhouette template before my texture template, but you are the person who, like Siddharth, had done the fabrics before he did the silhouette, correct? You can very well move the fabric or textures before the silhouette. So utna to you guys have the freedom to do, but we're just giving you a basic template to follow and work within that. Okay, if you guys have any specific questions with regards to your project at the end of this call, you can ask me that one-on-one once everyone else goes. So that's not a problem. I'm going to quickly show you my work. Okay, this is what I did in 2010 at LCF. This is the size of my portfolio. This is only one project. It's not even. I have to show it to you all like this. Okay, this is old school, not digital, fully like hands-on. So I'm going to show it to you all like this. So please see it like this. I've not made this digital as yet. I never did. Okay, so this collection was called Yatra, and the idea in this collection was that I was inspired by India. It was a very simple inspiration. If you look at the two projects we've seen today also, Siddharth and Sucharita's, I hope I pronounced your name correctly. But if you look at both their projects, yeah, thanks, perfect. You'll see that one took something that was so intangible. It was dance, it was movement. And then they took the dance and movement into lines, into forms, into shapes, and built it like that. The other person took something that's a seed, something that you can see, something that you can touch, you can hold, that grows into a tree. Again, something that's very tangible. But so where your inspiration comes from is not the problem, right? It depends on how you take that forward into something interesting where you can find something more in that, right? So with Siddharth's inspiration, he went from the dance to dance to dance, and he stays within that space. In Sucharita, she's gone from seed to plant to Adam and Eve to the life cycle. Yeah, does that make any sense? So you need to decide how your inspiration will build up into a full story, and that is something that will happen based on my mind map, my research, my my looking for imagery. I find some imagery and I realize that, oh, I love this imagery. It matches my inspiration better. Can I change it? Move back. So you can move back and forth. It's not a problem. But every time you move back and forth, don't forget to do the work. The work still needs to be done. Okay. So I actually got this. Our logo right now, our company's logo is very similar to this one. This actually came in college because I felt like we needed to have like a cover page. Can you guys see? Can you guys see? Is there too much light falling on it? Yes or no? Hello?
It's perfect.
Visible. Perfect. Visible.
Light.
Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Thank you, guys. I heard you all. Okay. So initially, when I started my inspiration, I had to write a proposal, and the proposal spoke about what do I want my collection to be about? What would my inspiration eventually be? And someone's mic is on. Yeah. Okay. And at that point of time, I wanted my inspiration to come from turbans. I was very obsessed with turbans, and I thought that would be a great inspiration. So I started looking at turbans of different types from different places and tried to figure that out as my inspiration. But as I went along, I realized that actually through my inspiration, what I really, I've never shown this portfolio like this, guys. So please excuse me. Okay. So as I went along, I realized that what was really inspiring me a lot was the fact that I came from a country like India. And what about India? Like the colors, the festivals, the people, the places. So I started looking for more images. So what you see here, actually, what you see here is actually a collage that I had made with color, etc. Then it's also some imagery. It's a mix of different things. This is also a collage that I started building. So when I look for my images, I end up doing stuff like this, right? It doesn't always have to be solo. It could be solo, not be solo. That's up to you. But just looking at different images. So festivals of India, gods of India, people of India, just different people of India, color, again, markets of India. I started looking at lots and lots of different references. So this was a very fascinating book, and I started like getting very obsessed with these images of gods. And I thought that they were so damn fascinating. Like every god has its own form, has its own colors, right? Started exploring different kinds of imagery of colors. Actually, this is not my color story as yet. This is not my color story. I'm just showing you guys. So different kinds of imagery of colors, right? And looking at different sorts of images that I liked very much. Started building my own different color stories and seeing how could those images give me like different kinds of colors. Again, lots of colors from this. This is again from I think this is from one of those, what do you call it? Books with, color swatches. So I take it. So all of these are photocopies that you see, right? Nothing's actually there inside. It is a photocopy of it. I was looking at different kinds of fabrics that I could explore, right? Different kinds of fabrics. This is just lots of fabric samples that I found, photocopied it. Because what happens is when you start putting all the samples into your book becomes very fat, and that doesn't work. So all of this that you see is photocopies. So this is again, like I was very clear that I want to use different, a lot of red in it, because a lot of red you'll see in most of my inspiration images earlier. There's lots of red and lots of oranges. Now this is all the stuff I dyed myself to try different combinations of it. Then again, looking at different kinds of colors. This is all initial research. Huh? This is nothing. All this means nothing as yet. Okay. And then looking at different kinds of forms that came in from different places, like for example, from all of these. Wait, better. It's moved a little bit. Huh? This stuff has come too soon. Sorry, I should have. But this is how, when I talk about making rough sketches, this is what I talk about, guys. Rough sketches should be like this, so rough. We are just actually drawing different things in different proportions, you see, but they still have a template, like Anju was saying to you. There's a head, there's a leg, there's an arm, so I know where it's falling and where it's not falling. So these are just very, very rough sketches.
This thing is reflecting, Karishma. Was a visibility.
Now?
Yeah, a little better.
I should make this digital. I know I haven't done it as yet. And some pages have moved around. I've opened it today after some 7-8 years. Just by the way, for you guys. 1 minute. Okay. Is it better now though? Light is on off. Hello?
Yeah, it's better.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So basically, can you see these pages, right? So these are the pages that actually start building the story of the collection. So you're looking at different sort of elements that you think work for you. So looking at lots of Maharajas and things like that. Lots of Maharajas and pictures of the Maharajas, looking at textures that are formed inside them, and start looking at different images of lines and stripes. And also, this that you see is actually a sample that I've made. So this, what you're seeing right now is my final portfolio after the entire collection was done. So then that's why I could easily start to match ideas with the application, right? So right now, since we're still building it up, this may not be like the, like you may feel like a little confused with this one also still, but you see how a page looks? A page has all of the information. So I had gathered all the information from my project and I started putting it together. So for example, on this, if you look at it, okay, my turban is there. One of my references earlier looked at a mandala, which also related to the turban for me. Looked at these kind of like smocking, because if you look at the turban's gathers over here, it hides an element of smocking. So all these different types of smocking, and then also some illustrations on the same page. Can you see? Yeah. So every single page starts to define. This is another texture that I had made just with all of the gathers. See this? I looked at like really old school clothing, like really old style clothing of India. Then I did a zoomed in like Xerox behind it, put some of the bandhani stripes in it. And this is actually a translation of this garment, but illustrated. So this starts to give you an idea of how you're thinking of your collection, but this is not the final design. This is not the final design as yet, right? Then looking at different sorts of like, see this ornamentation in India, and then trying to relate it to other imagery. So this is a Jali ka imagery, right? And then from the Jali imagery, I started doing some samples of a real Jali. So this is something that I had made. It's only fabric with winding on it, so it becomes like a Jali itself. And this is references of different craft that's practiced in India, where there's all of this, you know, the same sort of element is there. Then again, there's the Jali. And then from the Jali, then this is where the garment started actually developing. Can you see? Yeah. Lots of different sizes. People keep saying, should it be portfolio? Should it be portrait, landscape? That's the only important thing, honestly. A4, A5 mixed, you know, it makes the portfolio so much more interesting when there's so much more to see inside it. So every time you flip a page, you see something interesting that's telling a story of your entire collection, right? So these ones are now over here. You'll also start seeing toiles. So the toile is there, the drawings are there. This is a flat drawing of the garment, but it's still not the final one. This is still just a toile. And then this one reflects off these kind of images. It's different inspiration, sadhus.
Actually, after every time you have to revisit your inspiration to get the jerk back.
Yes.
Otherwise,
yes.
you tend to forget.
Yeah. So when you look at a portfolio like this is what at the end of it should be. So we're talking about how like how you linking everything up, right? How you supposed to link everything up. Like everything comes from somewhere. Things just don't fly out from the air. It doesn't fly out from nowhere. But a mind map is still important to do now. My concept note may not be in this final portfolio, but the concept note was still made for it. So we must not go with that whole theory that if portfolio mein nahi aayega, so it's not important. The portfolio eventually only showcases what is essential for it at that point of time. It doesn't have to have my mind map, every single rough work. This is a condensed version of this project. This is one project. It's a condensed version. We were not allowed to put everything into our portfolios. We had to edit it also, right? Which is why like these kind of, see the toiles, building up the toiles, trying it on real people, all this is in muslin. Color. And here, you see, this is a direct understanding of where the garment has probably been inspired from, but it's not a copy. It's not a copy of this garment. It's a variation of that, right? So that's the inspiration and that's the translation. And you see the pants also. The pants were completely wrapped around the legs. You see how the dhoti is? So it's inspired from it, but it's not a dhoti pant. Yeah. And these are again samples of work. It's trying different things of wrapping techniques. This is that same garment in color. The garment starts getting mixed up. So when you start looking at things, you start to see like where that particular garment conversation comes from. Even when we work on toiles, we actually work with toiles, we work on flat drawings, everything simultaneously. So flat drawings are not just for technical sheets. Flat drawings come in, they play a very big part actually in the way we actually work because you understand so much more from your flat drawing. See this? This is an embroidery sample. This is a collage. the white space around it, there's no tamjam. Like there's no over designing, nothing. It's a very simple, just a simple way of showcasing your idea. Collage. This is what I had made. This is one of my own samples. So even when you're presenting your samples, can you present them in more interesting ways, right? And this is the garment illustration plus toile, then coloring the toile, putting in details on the toile. This is a fabric sample with that. This is where the inspiration came from. This photo of this person, see the blue and the red. People ask me, where do you get color from? How do you decide what color should be used for what product, right? So this is a pretty straightforward one to even understand where it came from. These are design development sheets. You see this? Again. So also in this, you'll see there's a toile at the bottom, and on the toile, then we've actually illustrated. We drew the technique that we wanted on it with the marker on the fabric when the person was wearing it, and then I remade the whole thing. So toiles also need to be, we need to tell the students that every phase is very important. Details. And even this whole pant, actually the pant didn't have a gap over here. But when she wore it, it looked so blah that I cut a big hole and we let the fabric come out to have that excessiveness. But that all happened in the toiling phase. It did not happen only in the design drawing phases. Samples of embroidery, colors, trying different dye techniques, material pages. There's a lot of plastic in this collection. Yeah, Kathakali dancers, looking at them. The garments started to develop based on these guys. I mean, of course, this is one of the more final pieces. All the hand illustrations are not here. But if I had to show someone this portfolio and tell them that my collection was called Yatra, it was inspired by India, and then they had to go through everything, right? They probably ask me a couple of questions, of course, because you always have questions to ask, but it still has that much data for people to understand how, like what all I was looking at. What all was I looking at? People are always going to, design is very subjective. It's very hard for everyone to understand everything exactly, right? Which is why we also asked you guys to explain to us why you were thinking a certain thing. In fact, I have these over here. Now it's kind of, can you see it? It's a part of the same thing. This morning, this one finally. It came from all of this ornamentation and accessorization. And also, at no point will you see that I have said, oh, my keyword is sustainability and I have to be sustainable. Because the idea was not to say, this is a sustainable collection. The point is all of the pieces that you see here, all of this stuff is made from recycled chandelier pieces. All the work is very handcrafted, very handmade, because that's the value of the work, right? We sometimes get so confused and a lot of people have seen their presentations say, my inspiration is sustainability. That doesn't mean anything. Your inspiration, sustainability is not an inspiration. It is a technique of doing something. It's the way the things are made or the way the things are sourced or how you're creating a product, if that makes any sense. Then also I did a lot of accessories in this collection. There were these bags and shoes. So the inspiration came from here. These guys who were carrying these, dabbas with all this jewelry, they were obviously selling it somewhere. And then I started looking at these different, picnic bags and picnic, just like a picnic, what do you call it? Mat rolled up, and then started building that in. So I did one with a quilt with all these multiple pockets on it and lots of embroidery. So we actually built that from scratch, and that was one of our accessories. It was a bag in that shape. This is all the embroidery that was on that bag. Eventually, this is the embroidery from the bag. Then we were looking at sunglasses too, but we never actually used them eventually. Then footwear, because obviously for me, working with upcycling was a thing from the beginning, from 2010. So I looked for old secondhand shoes and secondhand sneakers, and I cut them up and I actually sewed and pasted the shoes onto the sneakers. It's like development. So, but that idea came from something like this. I didn't want to go so ornamental. That didn't work for me very well. This is the lineup of all of the toiles and all their sample references, what we're going to use on which one. Yeah, front, back. You see how much work is done on the toile? When we make a toile or we make a sample garment, we actually do a lot of work on it. We draw on it, we color it, we cut it. Nowadays, the kids don't, if you even touch it with a scissor, they start to shout at us or they start to cry. They can't shout at us. But you know what I mean, right? So we need to get them into the practice of when they're making their toiles, they need to be so flexible because that's supposed to be experimentation. It's not supposed to be the finished garment. So you do all your experiments with this and then you start working on your finished garments, right? This is still in process. These are not 100% finished garments. This is in process. This is before they were actually finished. And this was just before finishing. Yeah, then trying out different ideas for accessories. There's a lot of pages, guys. There's tons and tons of pages. Then kind of just putting it all back with each other. So the toile, the color, the placement, this is the whole process, where it came from, the flat drawings, the actual picture of it before the finishing, all of it just coming together. And you start making notes on those sheets. And these are working sheets. They're not just for decoration. They were actually for working. Yeah. The whole thing is broken down. But this is all done after you've got these different elements, right? You've got your toile, you've got your illustrations, you've got everything, and they come together after that. It's not an afterthought. So you look at this guy, reference for this person. The colors came so obviously from Lord Krishna. The thing is, we're so used to just looking at the inspiration and saying, "Ye mera inspiration hai, this is my final product," that we end up missing out on that journey of adapting, of building, of learning. We miss out that journey. I know that it may sound too idealistic, ye kaun karta hai, but trust me, people do it. It's not like it doesn't happen. So if we start to bring in that journey, we'll have a lot more soul in our design. And that's what we need to talk to the kids about. That's what you need to teach them. You want the designers who come out to actually have that, that everything is thought about. We've put in details into every single thing, not just that, ye mera inspiration hai, ye mera final hai, which is what happens, right? More is the inspiration and more is the final product eventually. Yeah. Then this is again the lineup. So this is again doing a full lineup, then deciding what is missing from the lineup and reworking that. So the working never stops. Even after your collection's done, you're still reworking every part of it. And these are images of that collection. If you guys can see. The other one. Then this is illustration. So again, illustration, people keep saying, but I can't illustrate very well. I could never illustrate very well. So I found something that worked for me. I found a method that worked for me. So all these illustrations are mixed media illustrations. They are a mix of hand painting, photo, collage, cutaway, embroidery. There's actually 3D embroidery on this. This is not the original, this is only a print. The original one's been framed, it's got embroidery on it also. This is just looking at each garment front side, back, all the views. And then details. So that goes on. There's a lot of detail for front side, back because we had to like document everything for our technical sheets, but we need to start our final portfolios, you don't have to make them so big, you can make them smaller. I wish I'd made this slightly smaller. It is too big. But I think that we need to start thinking where we're making them produce that much work at the end of every class or every course that finishes. I mean, this is not one semester's work. This is an entire like big project. This is my final project. So obviously the scale is that much bigger. But you know, you'll say, okay, but that was when you were in college. Even right now, the way we do it, I'm just going to quickly show you guys one quick one, then we'll wrap up for the day. Okay, I think some of you may have already seen this project. I think, yeah, but anyways. Right, so this entire project is inspired by, we were working with these acid victim survivors. We haven't yet finished this project. Some projects you start and you don't end up finishing them. So this one we haven't even gotten back to it after the last time that I spoke to you guys about. But I like talking about this one because this is an intangible inspiration, and a lot of our inspirations come from very intangible places, right? So this whole idea was to work with these women who were obviously like warriors in their own way. She had these scars and she had all these issues, but it was more about the battles that she had won. And I know now Deepika Padukone's movie and stuff, it's become a lot more like easy to talk about. But we started doing this project about 2 years ago, and we're still working on it on the side. And the whole idea was imperfect, perfect, right? And it was all about how do we break stereotypes? How do we break the stereotype of beauty, of happiness? What is perfection? How do you decide who's beautiful, who's not beautiful? And that's where this whole story started to stem from. So there were lots of these different poems, like this one poem, The Truth About Monsters, because most of the times we all know that in situations like this, it's people who are very close to us who normally harm you, right? We know this. So this was one of the starting points for our inspiration, talking about how, like what goes through people who actually do such kind of things to other people. And also the imagery that you see, there are some illustrations about like a distorted face, but it's still art. It's still distorted, but it's still really beautiful, right? Then start looking at different references of like imperfection. So say that is the wall where there is like an imperfection. And also they have this thing called wabi sabi in Japanese culture, where they say when you fill something up with gold, it becomes beautiful again. It adds a lot more value to it. So they put that in lots of high regard. So if you put gold into a crack, they usually give that like higher regard, right? Like, it's so old, it still withstood the whole test of time. So this whole idea of imperfection was something that we were after for this collection. So we were doing, this is a collaboration project. So we were collaborating with another graphic artist on this, and they wanted to really focus on, so this is a project we actually did for someone else. It's not something that we did solo. We did this in collaboration with someone else. So they wanted to really focus on the women and focus on the kind of like scars they had, but we had to be really careful about that because that can go terribly wrong. You can't just say, I'm taking inspiration on the women's scars. That's just terrible. But there are such beautiful graphic patterns on it that it was very intriguing for everyone. So what we started doing is we started taking the pictures, drawing out lots of lines on them, right? Different thicknesses, different, colors, different directions. And then we tried to translate those. Then we took the face out from behind and we tried to translate those through embroidery, right? Then looked at different kinds of imagery, cubism, like art in which things were a bit more distorted, different kinds of keywords that we wanted to focus on: resurrection, mosaic, collage, natural. So now when we work, we condense it. Of course, I don't do like 100-page portfolios anymore. I don't do that, let's be honest. But the point is that we learn the art of condensing, we learn the art of editing. But if the students don't learn the art of making a big portfolio, what will they condense? You can only play around with, you can change the rules only if you know what the rules are. Hence, it's very important that we teach them how to make 100-page portfolios. So in the next 3, 4, 5 years, as they go out into the industry, they learn to work on things much faster, and you will automatically leave a few steps out. You will move things around to what works for you, because every designer has their own way of working. But how to get to this point is something that we really have to work with them on, right? How do you teach them how to be sensitive about an inspiration? How do you teach them? How do you take color out? How do you teach them the importance of color? That is what we need to teach them, and then tell them that this is your project, like what we're doing right now, right? You guys already have this skill. You guys are teachers, you'll have studied this before. So you all already have all of this knowledge. So all we're saying is put all that knowledge into the design process and create a final outcome. Okay? Just like taking the same forms from different faces, repeating them, doing different patterns, then looking at different art again that's related to that, that's imperfect, broken, distorted. Then we did this collage of their faces and looking at different techniques that we could probably use to, to bridge those things. So we're saying wabi sabi, you fill gold in the cracks. But how do you do that in fabric? I can't just take gold paint and paint cracks. That doesn't work, right? So can we do different kind of techniques? There's some beading. This is beading. There was some embroidery previously. And also the kind of forms that we use to pull out the patterns, right? So even the value of the lines, when I say value of the lines, I mean thickness of the line keeps changing. The form keeps changing, but you're still doing.
Ma'am, ma'am, we can't see your screen.
Can you see it now?
I can see your screen, but it is.
We can't see the visual.
Actually, it is fixed, ma'am.
Yeah, it's static. There's just first page of it. I thought you were yet to be talking.
Yeah, I thought, yeah.
I was going through the pictures and talking. It'd be so boring if I just keep talking. Can you see it
now?
I thought probably you're going to start this.
No, ma'am.
Not yet.
Not yet, ma'am.
Can you see it now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay, perfect.
It's
So anyway,
appears.
that's a lot. I'll just quickly take you all through this. This is a bit of the write-up I was talking about, and some more images of the different illustrations that we looked at.
Not visible.
Then here, that whole wabi sabi idea I was talking about imperfections, where they put gold into the cracks to heal things and repair things, and also an image of a person. So you start to relate the two with each other, right? Then this whole wall, y'all can see it now, right?
Yeah.
Now you can see it. Perfect. So then this whole wall, then putting in like a little bit text on what we're looking at, and this wall that's kind of peeling, but still has this element of gold that's coming out from behind it, which is really beautiful. So even though it's imperfect, it's just really beautiful. And then we looked at like different of the faces and the scars to actually start pulling out lines. So you'll see as we go ahead is that you'll see different values and thicknesses of lines being used to do the same purpose. So the point is to remove the different shapes that we can find from these images, but they're done in different ways. Like this one is just a small translation of it in embroidery, then looking at more art, then some of the keywords that we started focusing on. Then again, like just different ways of removing the lines, different forms. And this is then more techniques of how, so we're talking about gaps and filling gaps. So how else can you fill it? I don't want to just take paint and drop on it, right? This is the slide I was talking about, where you try different techniques of what could actually work to create that surface, because just gold paint on fabric is not enough. Then also changing the way you take those forms out. So one is with the lines we had earlier, then this one had like more like larger places of color for negative and positive. Because if you use the same kind of line to take out the pattern all the time, your patterns will all be very similar. So we started changing the way we were drawing the lines also to get the patterns out. Then try to do some embroidery to work around that idea. These are just images, references, reference images, talking about cracks, filling, building, mending, joining. So this one, like I said, is a work in progress. We have not these silhouettes as yet, and I think some of you may have seen this one earlier. But when we are working to talk about design process, you need to reach this But even this doesn't happen very fast. It still takes us about like at least a month for us to be able to condense it down to this, a month, 2 months to condense it down to this, right? Because there's a lot of other work that happens, but this is what we want you to see. This is what we want to show you, correct? But the students can't just be making a portfolio that they want to show us. They need to be making a portfolio that has all the work in it. And as they go from first year to second year to third year, the difference in their portfolio should be visible, right? Where what they took 3 months to do in the first year, they probably now do it in 1 month in the third year. But also in the third year, their project becomes so much bigger that maybe it takes them 6 months, because now everything that they learned in first and second year, they're doing in the third year, right? Right now, it's so hard to tell the difference between the portfolios of like, just, sorry, let's stop this. Oh, I had some stuff here. Just for inspiration references, we were going to look at the samurais and the Japanese culture. But do you guys have any questions in particular? I mean, if you have something that you want me to address that we haven't addressed in the last 1.5 hours?
Guys, you can ask, because everybody has a different thing to be asking. So in case you want to have some clarity more onto it, because just keeping quiet, or if you've understood, good for us. But in case you want some queries to be solved, it will be nice if you could talk right now.
Hi. Can you hear me? Hi, this is Nikita. So I had one query rather than like, I'll just go ahead and ask. So I have checked like whatever PPTs you have shown me, different people have worked on it. But in the start of PPT, you have some slides which says research, right? Mm-hmm. So I saw directly the research of the inspiration, a lot of inspiration. And then it kept me thinking, because I have not done it that way, because what I did with the research was I kept my brand, like what is our brand about. We created the brand identity, what our target consumerism would be like. And accordingly, we went ahead with our inspiration and the design process. So if you check a PPT on the
PPT, which center are you from? Koregaon Park?
Yeah.
Koregaon Park CPT hasn't come to me. Amit, can you help me with this?
We have sent like 2 PPTs.
I don't think the PPT have seen it. But anyways, that's fine. That's fine. You do it the way you think you need to do it, because the idea is, so for some people, the research may start from as simple as like what you're saying, I need to decide my brand and identity. But I don't want to complicate everyone's lives, because I don't want them to sit and think about their branding and identity right now. I need them to think about their design process, and as simple as that. So if you've done it differently, it's fine. I'll have a look at it and give you feedback, but I haven't gotten it yet. So I'm going to make a note of it. And Amit, we need to check why I haven't gotten Koregaon Park PPT as yet.
Yeah, because we sent like 2 PPTs. So even we were wondering, we haven't got the feedback yet. So
it will come. I think
right here.
Okay, so I wanted to ask, so we are not like the way I have worked, is it right or is it wrong, or like?
I don't know. I need to see your PowerPoint. I can't do feedback.
Karishma, just what I want to say is that everybody has a different way of putting their design process, right? I understand. But when we are, the whole workshop of ours is basically how are we going to be talking to our students to take it further on there, right? So because the students are new, for them to get onto brand and all that would be a little difficult to stage. So this whole workshop is basically for the initial stages of students. How do we actually make them understand and the right ways to reach? So you might have done because you are putting your portrayals there, but when it comes to teaching the students, I would like that we start with the basics. That would complicate them.
I did it because on the PPT it was mentioned like for the brand you're launching. So that's why we thought like we have to even discuss about like we have to make a brand.
I'll have a look at it anyways. No one else should be stressed by what she said. Okay, we're not expecting that out of anyone.
Yeah, Nitika, we haven't received any one of your files. I just checked with my files. On which ID did you send those PPTs?
Actually, we send it to our admin, and admin would, because we
haven't received it. So you
I'll check with our admin.
Please check with your admin if they've sent it. We haven't received. Just tell them to send it again on the academics email ID.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
And does anyone have any particular question with regards to their project in particular? Any feedback that
Yes,
I gave
ma'am.
that you understand? Yes, please ask.
Yeah, Akshay from Jodhpur. Ma'am, the same question, like I also kept in my mind that what I do for my brand, I do mostly dabu and block printing, and I do the minimalistic embroidery from the NGO nearby my hometown. So I kept in that mind and try, because मुझे print ही बनाने हैं और मुझे block print ही करना है उसमें, तो उसी को ध्यान में रख के मैंने research किया है. तो basically वो textile का वो part तो पहले से clear रहता है कि हाँ what I want to use or what I use, what I can sell here. So in that also I have followed that thing.
That's okay. I'll have a look at it once again with this point of view. Also, what you guys can do is there any way, Jasmine, I know I keep asking you something new every time I come to meet you, but I want to ask you for one more thing. Is there any way that the students can, the drive that they are uploading, the one that is uploading?
See, the problem is they are not uploading to the drive. They are sending a mail to us, and then we are uploading it onto the drive. So it's
a very quicker way of like this, like say if there's something like a simple question to ask. You know, it's a quicker way of doing it, because I can't think of any other way of doing it. Because then these